Hey everyone, and if you're here, you've been part of the community, or you're new to the community, and you're wondering how do I put an SSD inside of an actual PlayStation 4 for an internal drive. I'm going to be upgrading mine to a 1 TB today, on top of how to update your software directly right off of having the right tools, the right set, and the right software in order to install that directly inside of there. And we're going to go over the fundamentals of what happens if you may or may not have the right working thing. So if your issue is hard drive, your issue is PlayStation is not working, I'm more than likely going to cover the subjects down in this preceding video. This is your boy MacGyver7th, you're at the MacGyver7th channel, and we're going to cover a lot of techie news in order to keep your PlayStation faster, alive, and still breathing. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Before you start fiddling with anything, replacing the hard drive or anything like that, we're going to start with the basics. The flash drive. Make sure that inside that flash drive there's a folder named PS4, capital PS, and then a 4 right after it. It'll make its export folder right after that. It's not like the updates, which we'll cover, where you have to make a physical update folder for it in order to pull it from it and in order to install. Otherwise you're going to run into some issues, unfortunately. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and show you exactly the wrong and right. Under settings, you're going to go ahead and look under a certain file, scroll down to your system. At that point inside, you're going to scroll down a little more to backup and restore. Now, the reason this is important, if you don't have really good internet connection and you have a really good hard drive that's in FAT32 or FAT32, which is the only format it will accept as you're transferring it back and forth. So make sure your partitions are in the right one. If you're having issues, that's where you should start first. Have a few of these, like a flash drive is more than likely going to be in FAT32. A normal big hard drive, something like this, may end up being something where it's in an MTSF. So you may have to look into that to see exactly what's going to end up happening, but if you should have this, it should be fine. But let me show you exactly what ends up happening. It'll give you this, that the USB storage device cannot be used if it's in the wrong format or just something you just don't like. So, and it'll reconfirm that if you go back and do backup and restorage. While selecting the right partition that you're supposed to do, it will give you this error. So if you've reached this is the time where you need to start looking around for something like this. And remember, my importancy of this transfer is just my save files. I have my PSN cloud and it's completely full. I play a whole bunch of video games and I just want to make sure it's seamless. I can just put it in there, it transfers over. I can always re-download my games later on. It's not that big of a deal to me because I have unlimited, really fast internet. So for most people that don't have that luxury, you might want to transfer over your game files onto that hard drive. And that's why I'm giving this a little bit more TLC for them to be able to operate. But let's go ahead and get down to the nitty gritty. So we've cleared this. Let's show you the right way. Now with the proper USB installed, it will not give me any warning message at all. All I have to go back down is to the system, go back down directly to the backup and restore. And at that point in time, hit backup and it's going to give me this. Trophies. The one thing you are going to want to sync up to that PSN before you make that shift so you don't lose them. So let's go ahead and get this all sorted out and I'll show you what's going down afterwards. Once you get everything in order, it should give you this prompt where you can just basically close all the applications and it's going to go through its little turn off, turn on. Now that my PlayStation's finally got out of HDR mode and you can kind of see it a little bit darker, my apologies, but looking forward at this, you're going to be given a really confusing thing and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough room, I just have a thumbnail drive, I just want my stuff, don't freak out, it's fine. All you need to do is reselect this at this point in time and then go to the deselect portion, then hit confirm and voila, now you have plenty of room. And all you're going to really need to do is back up your save data, maybe some of the capture if you really had some nice gameplay you wanted to basically port over or upload to any network that you want, but personally I want to bring over my themes because I don't want to re-download this because my themes are awesome. They deserve to port over, and the settings, everything. So just hit the next button. At that point in time, it'll say, hey, we're going to go ahead and create this at this point in time. This is the size, and then you just let it back up. It'll give you a nice little thing, and we'll come back to this later. I do want to note that my PlayStation has liquid metal on it, so that's why it's like accelerating right now when it's saying like, oh, 10 minutes, no, 9 minutes, no, I'm just breathing nothing. Also, to be fair, it is transferring from an SSD, so it has its benefits in that situation. So you should use this, and let's go to the next step. Now it goes through its backing up process at that point in time since it's already got everything after the reset, and we'll come back after this. Now this might be the one that takes a little bit longer than normal because it's the way it's writing on there, and that stick drive that I have is, well, not the fastest in the world, but it's 3.0. And you can kind of see as I come back onto camera that this is a more honest way and approach that it goes into it. Now again, the luxuries of transferring from SSD to a flash is very good. You can kind of see it's not that bad, but it's still going to take about 20 minutes of downtime. Well, no, I'm wrong. My PlayStation's just an over accelerator. You go get him, champ. We'll be back. With less than 100 seconds, now we have some fun things of dismantling so we can show you what to do to get that hard drive in. That's either brand new, SSD, upgrade, whichever you're going towards. Let's cover the basics. My dirty PS4. My original, day 1. This one's pretty good. Now with these ones, you'll see where the glossing is. You're just literally gonna kind of pull it up like this, and bam, it should kind of expose itself. Now with the other ones directly on top of there, you should be able to access your SSD by taking that screw right here off, and it should slide directly out. Now with pros, they're completely different, and we're gonna get into that too. Once it completes, it'll ask you to press the PlayStation controller because it probably went into rest unless it was plugged in directly. Just go ahead and hit that. It's gonna reset and boot right back up, and you're right as rain. Once you've transferred all the data you wanted directly off to it, power it off. Do not put it in rest mode because you're going to be turning it off and disassembling it after this. So let's go ahead and get ready and get our PlayStation 4 Pro to get a new little upgrade with 500 gigs more of SSD surplus. So now with it in hand, all you're really going to have to do, this one's pretty simple. This one you just kind of grab right here and again right here on the edge. Now it might feel a little resistance the first time you actually have done it, but right after, voila, make sure you're lifting toward yourself and from the back, and it's a very simple assembly. Now, the reason I say do this is because since you're already doing this, you might as well clean this, because in the back assembly there's a whole other gear for the SSD, which should be right back here. As you can see, mine is already open right back here, which has the screw, and you can just pull directly out, and everything comes out as an assembly. Now, there is going to be a bracket. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm talking about right back here. You're just basically going to kind of pop it off, and then that's going to give you access to that screw. Once you get that screw out, you can take out the hard drive, and I'll show you how to put in the new hard drive real fast. Once you get it out, you'll have it in the cradle like this, and if you have any resistance inside of it and you're not getting it, kind of wiggle it very slowly back and forth, and it should just pop right out. Especially if you've never removed it before, it's probably liked its transporting points of data back and forth. So just do that and it can be there. There's going to be 4 screws directly inside the cradle on the left and right point. You're going to undo those. It's literally the same exact screwdriver. It should be really simple, and literally that's all you're going to have to do besides us doing the software update. Now with empty cradle, new SSD, 1 terabyte, assemble, align the holes, re-screw directly in, and we'll slot it right back inside of there and get with the software. Now go ahead and just slide directly in, give it a nice little push, nothing too firm. It should be flush with that. Install the 1 safety screw inside there. You can put the bracket in back of there. Personally, I find it aesthetic, and this is a nice little heat hole that it can come out just in case the venting ventilation in the very back isn't good enough, so it can increase at least a tiny bit of your temperature. Now make sure you have your controller and a connector in hand. You're going to plug it in because you're going to need that in order to operate the system. You're going to press the PlayStation button. Should boot directly into its standpoint. If not, just give the power button on the PlayStation a little nudge and you should be right back into business. Let's go ahead and get the software underway. Mine instantly knew what was up, and it should ask you a few questions in a second once it realizes it's a blank drive. I'm going to have to do this a little unorthodox. I wanted to show you guys and gals what was up for as far as booting in process to process, but it instantly triggered something in my capture card. I thought it was copyrighted again because it went from the HTCP, whatever, it's a streamer thing. But let me show you what's up. It's just going to be like via camera looking at my TV. So once you have the controller plugged in, it'll tell you to press the controller. It'll act like it didn't. Press the PlayStation Home controller, provided you have the right update installed. And this is one of the biggest things I have to point out, and you'll notice something instantly off the bat. Before you get started, you want to make sure you have the right software. Make sure it's up to date. 7.02 at the current time of filming this is the most up-to-date version software on top of there. Now, looking at top of there, you're going to be given 2 choices in the States. Now, in other countries, you have a fix and repair, but we're not excessively needing that because ours is just straightforward for as far as the streamline of either A, you have a failed update, you can't download it, then you go with the PlayStation update. Do not pick the PlayStation update if you're installing a new SSD, if you're trying to mess with a corrupted hard drive and you're trying to flash it in order for it to rework again. You're always going to want to go to reinstart, which is a hard reset or a factory portion. That's what you want. It's going to be roughly about a gig versus a half a gig in the portion of installation. So make sure you get those dialed in, otherwise it will fail and you will get an error prompt. Now that I got the screen looking a little bit better, let's go ahead and hit the install and let's see what it looks like after it's done, and we'll port over all of our imports, all that fun stuff, and we'll get it going. Now it's going to ask you this even if you didn't have anything on it. It's literally just trying to format it in PlayStation's format. Let it installate and you should be fine after it runs and does it. It should be pretty quick since it's an SSD. Let's go ahead and get to the fun stuff. It should do its thing as it does the install directly over there. Just let it do its thing. Right now you can kind of see the background. It's finally looking like a PlayStation 4, but let it do its thing. It'll reset and we'll come back. Okay, cool. Now we're finally getting to the point where you're gonna have to press the PlayStation controller. Go ahead and put down what the region you're gonna be in directly inside of there. Then it's gonna have you set up a whole bunch of fun stuff as you go through the step-by-step as it checks the environmental. We'll go ahead and run back once you can see that it has everything where the PlayStation. Now you can skip. I don't have this directly on top of there. And you can see where everything is dialed in directly on top of that. So with our next steps past that, and you should get to this eventually after a whole bunch of cool stuff. Then they'll just have you sign into your profile. Everything should sync directly over because you're not just user one. And pretty easy to do so. So all you're going to have to do is go directly over here and go sign into your network at that portion in time once you're done. Now, cool thing I just noticed, and this was such a nice streamline, that it instantly asked me if I wanted to transfer from another PlayStation 4, which is pretty cool. And you can do that nowadays from transferring the data where you can go next to next. Now, this is not how we're going to do it on situations since we're not connected to another net port, but you do happen to have that if you have another PlayStation 4. You can go really, really fast without doing like an SSD. It's just literally PlayStation to PlayStation. So let's go ahead and get past this, and I'll show you exactly what you need to do with our flash drive. As a streamer, sometimes it's just switching off one thing that becomes so difficult, becoming so happy. So now that I have this and I'm finally back in the digital realm and not just doing a camera overlay, now it's time for the restore factor. So what we're going to do is hit restore. It's going to know this is, hey, that's our update. We're going to go ahead and hit yes. It's going to do its thing for as far as what's going to happen. It says, yes, I would like to restore the current portion of what's going on, the restoration of that. And then we'll get our external hook back inside of there, start downloading some games, and we're good to go. So everything all together, we should have 2 terabytes, no longer 1.5, which I'm super excited about because now I can expand my repertoire. Patch notes, yes. So if you are new to the network and you haven't already subscribed, you should. I do patch notes. We keep it real here. Now you'll see it go inside of this mode where it's prepping everything inside of there for as far as the situation of where we come into the automatic restore. It'll reset, boost into this mode for the restore, and you should be pretty good. Now for as far as this stick drive for lifting stuff, it's way faster, so I won't have to wait about 21 minutes of downtime. As you can see, it's just extraordinarily just, I have data and I'm a solid state drive, yeah! It's amped, like it's got some Code Red Mountain Dew, like I was right there. Hey, wait a minute, I think I do have one in the fridge. I'll be right back. I'm gonna let this thing do its thing. Code Red. Okay, with everything there, now you should just be able to select your profiles. It loaded everything over, which was really cool. Look, my theme is back. Everything is right there for as far as there. All my messages. Now let me go ahead and get my external, and we're good. In the end, you should be looking a little bit something like this. Now, with the software installed on top of there, you are going to lose a little bit more headroom, as you see where the external that I have, which is the same exact terabyte, the Evo 960, which is amazing. You can get them very cheap nowadays on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. You can get this if you want to upgrade to an SSD. But you can get up to, I believe, it goes up to 2 terabytes nowadays, but that's too expensive for an SSD. Personally, my standards, not yet. Maybe in the long run, unless you get like a really good deal. But looking at that, let's go ahead and make sure With that said, everyone, thank you so much for journeying along with me for the last 14 minutes. This should get you back up to par really fast. So you just transfer the data over, re-download some stuff. If you have an external, make sure you have it installed on that, and that way when you port over, it's just really seamless. So I definitely like how easy it is nowadays, and hopefully this clears up a lot of confusion for people who have had throughout the update videos as well as just installs. So if you're new to the network, you can always subscribe, like, and share. And if you do today, who knows? Maybe, just maybe, me and Nathan Drake will go on a 5th journey, because that'd be cool. An Uncharted 5 would be awesome, even though they said they wouldn't do it. But I want a prequel, damn it. I want a prequel with his mom being a badass and him being young Drake learning how to be a badass. That'd be cool. But who knows what Sony has planned for us next in the next generation of gaming. So, if you are new to the network, make sure you stay tuned to see what's next here in the Gabby7 channel. Stay classy, and see you guys and gals in the near future.